Hi all, great you can be here this week. For those who don't know me, my name's Zoe Lamont and I'm head coach at Verve Super. We often get asked around salary sacrificing. While I can't provide financial advice specific to your personal circumstances, I hope this video can break down some of the rules and lingo that you hear when people talk about salary sacrificing, and that you can walk away feeling more educated on the topic with some great questions to ask yourself and your employer. One of the easiest ways to build wealth is to put things on autopilot and avoid forgetting to make a deposit one week or the temptation to chop and change your strategy. Superannuation is a terrific example of having a long-term investing plan on autopilot, with most of our employers contributing 9.5% of our salary on our behalf. While that's bubbling away happily, it's worth noting that there are other ways to build our superannuation balance for your retirement, which might also give you some bonus financial breathing space along the way. We're talking about salary sacrifice, a way to bump up your regular super contributions above the compulsory 9.5%. Broadly, sacrificing more of your salary can help you with three main things. First of all, minimizing tax. Secondly, buying your first home. And thirdly, boosting your long-term financial options. Let's first talk about minimizing tax. So the government ultimately wants to make sure as many of us as possible can be somewhat self-sufficient in retirement. Of course, this takes pressure off the welfare system, but we'll need a fair bit to stay comfortable. So they encourage us to add more than that designated 9.5%. This encouragement comes in the form of a lower tax rate. So there are a few different ways to make super contributions, and I'll include some of the links in the comments below. One type are concessional or before tax super contributions, which are currently taxed at 15%. That means for every dollar your employer puts into your super fund, the government takes 15 cents. The rest of our take-home pay is also taxed, but that tax rate depends on how much we earn. And generally, the more we earn, the more tax we pay. And for many people, it's more than the 15% we pay for making a contribution into our super. So salary sacrificing is arranging with your employer to have an additional amount from your salary paid directly into your super fund before it hits your bank account and you're taxed your regular income rate. So instead of, for example, being taxed at 30%, you'll pay this skinny 15% super tax rate on that money. Here's a few important notes worth mentioning. So firstly, if you earn less than $37,000 in a financial year, you'll receive a refund from the government of up to $500 of that 15% contributions tax you might have paid on any of those concessional contributions. This is what is called the LISTO, or Low Income Super Offset Scheme. Secondly, this 15% tax rate applies to those earning less than $250,000 in a financial year. If you earn more than $250,000 in a year and you want to contribute more to your super, then your additional contributions are taxed at 30% plus the Medicare levy. And thirdly, you may have heard of caps. So the 15% tax rate applies to concessional super contributions up to $25,000 per financial year. So that's as of 2020. So the cap covers your employer's compulsory superannuation guarantee contributions, generally 9.5% of your salary, but sometimes more, so check your payslip, plus any salary sacrifice or extra personal contributions that you arrange. So if you contribute more than the $25,000 cap, the excess contributions will be taxed at your marginal tax rate and incur further interest rates. So it's important that you know how much and keep an eye on how much you're contributing, and especially if you're making a contribution sometime in June before the fin year's out, just add up first what you're up to, and so making sure that you get under that cap, and so you make the most of it, of the opportunity from a tax perspective. Although in some cases, if you haven't met the concessional cap in the previous financial year, you can carry forward the unused portion. So check if you're eligible for that. So if any of these scenarios sound like you, I'll include the links below in the supporting blog so you can have a read and get some more information. And remember, salary sacrificing doesn't lock you in forever. So you can ask your employer to stop making salary sacrifice payments on your behalf whenever you like. You can increase them, you can decrease them. There's a lot of flexibility. It may seem a bit like a game of accounting, and it is, but over time, that extra money that you're saving will help build a powerful retirement balance, and without you really having to think much about it. And I know with the busy lives that so many of us lead these days, I'm all for set and forget strategies. So as we talked about in last week's video, adding additional super contributions can also fast track your savings to help buy your first home. If you didn't see last week's video, did you know that you're allowed to withdraw some of your superannuation early to buy your first home? It's called the First Home Super Saver Scheme. So look that up or check out last week's video if you missed it and if it sounds like an opportunity for you. Because our superannuation account attracts that skinny 15% tax rate as opposed to our regular income tax rate, it can obviously help us save money faster. So lots of people choose to sacrifice a portion of their salary into their super to, fast track their savings, and when they've got enough, they can withdraw it from their super account and use it towards a deposit for buying your first home. But this scheme is only available for your first home, and you need to check first if you're eligible before setting up these extra contributions, because obviously you're hoping to turbocharge your savings for an investment property or to start a business or take up yacht racing. You won't be able to get this money till you are at least 65. So make sure you're eligible before you start saving for that property purchase. So the third benefit of salary sacrificing is all about making hay when the sun shines. So saving during times when you do have a steady income to help you out when you may experience a period of time where you're not earning and therefore not contributing or not contributing as much to your super. Compound interest works its magic when you increase the numbers and contribute consistently. So by missing a year or two of super contributions, you miss out on a large chunk of that compounding butterfly effect, and it takes a long time to make up the difference. So salary sacrificing is a powerful way to build up a buffer in your super fund and prepare for some potential working gaps. If you decide to one day to take time out to study or to travel or to care for family, previous salary sacrificing efforts might have built up enough to smooth over that gap, and your future self will thank you. So if you can see yourself foresee yourself taking a break from regular working and therefore super contributions, salary sacrificing and personal contributions, making them earlier in your career as possible, can leave you in just as good a place in retirement. So think about upping your contributions when you can to give yourself a break later. So how does salary sacrificing actually work? Some employers offer salary sacrificing, others, especially small business, often don't. So if you do have the option, take your time to consider whether it makes sense for you and whether salary sacrificing supports both your long and short-term goals. So if you're ready to get started, speak to your employer about how to set up a salary sacrifice arrangement and consider how much you want to allocate from each take-home pay to pop into your super. The other question we often get asked is, well, how will that impact your take-home pay? So of course, the more money you're putting into super, the less money you've got in your pocket for things now.